to take on the challenge of identifying and summarizing the main issues present in the heartbreaking HD version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, airing currently on the Pivot TV channel. Those issues being framing, brightness and color, editing mistakes in Prophecy Girl, pretty much the entire update itself. The content of this video is based on an article titled What's Wrong with Buffy's HD. The article was created by some frustrated Buffy fans on the Facebook page Buffy HD. There's a link in the description and you should check it out for more video comparisons, as well as the original article. We're going to be taking a look at some examples. Before we do, though, let me acknowledge that these shots are mirrored. Sadly, YouTube's Content ID system is more of a sledgehammer than a fine tool, and Fox is particularly aggressive about protecting copyright, even in instances of fair use like this analysis. Bear with us.
You came back wrong.
Alright, first let's cover the color issues. In the original shot from Nightmares, a blue filter was added, probably in the editing room to give a chilly, dreamlike quality to the scene. In the HD version, the remastering team completely ignored the original edited episode and failed to add the same filter in HD. Consequently, the filmmaker's original intention is lost, and you have to wonder if the remastering team had ever even seen the original episode. Sure, the color balance on the DVDs might not always be optimal, but at least we know a black and white film should be, black and white. This shot from the episode Anne is one of the worst examples of the color balance being completely wrong. The sunset scene no longer has a sunset, which was a potent visual metaphor in the episode. Buffy is dreaming about a love that has ended, which dovetailed nicely into the sunset ending the day. By ignoring the original edited shot, the scene has now lost a layer. And yet, confusingly, the presence of an unnecessary orange filter is a recurring problem throughout the remastered Season 3, especially in this episode and in Helpless and Bad Girls. Here's an example of a night scene looking more like daylight, another forgotten filter by the remastering team. Buffy is now apparently laying in bed in the middle of the day for no reason. Well, let me pause this one. Another odd color change. The purple look of several scenes is very striking, especially in this one. There's a recurring blue tint in Season 2. This clip from Lie to Me looks nothing like the original in terms of coloring. You'll also notice a pinkish tint, especially in Season 1, that makes the show look more like a pop music video rather than a vampire show. You could say the gothic and scary atmosphere in Season 1 has almost disappeared in HD.
Oh, please.
Alright, now let's cover the brightness issues. The classic night bedroom scene from Angel now takes place during the day. A special filter was probably used in '97 to make the scene look like nighttime, but wasn't used again for the new HD remaster. Again, these kinds of mistakes indicate that no one from the original team, cinematographer, editor, whoever, was consulted during the remastering process. But not only that, it seems as though no one involved in the remaster bothered to look at the edited episodes. Worse, if that isn't actually true, it means someone on the remaster team did look at the originals, but decided they knew better. In this shot from Consequences, in the original version, the drowning scene is at night. That is not the case in the remastered episode. The light is very bright while underwater, which causes contrast issues. But more importantly, it's obviously night when Buffy comes out of the water. The scene makes no sense in HD. Also note that the widescreen format reveals that the person drowning Buffy was not Faith, but Sarah Michelle Gellar's stunt double. Okay, here's some of the cropping issues. Fox Studios decided to convert the series to 16:9, which creates many problems. The show was never protected for 16:9, and Joss Whedon, the show creator, made it clear that he wishes for every season to stay in 4:3, except for the Sublime episode Once More with Feeling. We'll cover Joss's feelings later on, along with some members of the original team. We're not going to dwell on this too much, as there seems to be a reasonable split between fans who want the show to stay 4:3 and others who prefer 16:9. But it is important to remember that many of the errors we're going to run through are a consequence of this change in aspect ratio. In our opinion, converting a show to widescreen when it wasn't supposed to be is a very complex task. It should involve a lot of talent and care, and the original filmmakers should be consulted, similar to the way David Simon, the creator of The Wire, was when his show was remastered. For some unknown reason, the first 7 episodes of Season 1 are almost entirely cropped, losing about 25% of the original image, while episodes 8 through 12 have a 16:9 frame fully opened up on the sides with some occasional cropping. If the original film negatives of Season 1 aren't available in 16:9 for every episode, the entire season should only be presented in the original 4:3. The third season is the best of the 3 so far. The frame doesn't move up and down as much as in Season 2, but the unnecessary zooming and occasional cropping is still an issue. In this shot from Angel, we've lost a lot of height, but inexplicably some of the original width from the 4:3 image has been cut. The shot is zoomed far more than it needs to be, and this happens during the entire scene. Again, since these cropping decisions are seemingly being made at random, they often remove the action actually taking place in a particular shot. Here, Darla fanning her skirt out has been completely removed. Here, almost the whole impact of the scene has been changed. They again cut width from the original 4x3 and we've lost a lot of scenery. Given how dark the shot is, couldn't the team behind the remastering have created black pillar bars to keep the original shot in its entirety?
Oh my god.
In this example, a lot of the original width has been cut, so much so that they've essentially turned a wide shot into a close-up. And yet another terrible example of unnecessary zooming. The width of the original 4x3 frame is again not used in its entirety. This has been a recurring problem in the first 3 remastered seasons. The Region 2 DVDs have proven from the recaps that most of these scenes can be widescreen without cropping, and the GOOFS should be painted out digitally. Otherwise, what they've done is second-guessed the original artistic decisions of everyone who created the scenes to begin with. Let's cover the GOOFS and the outright editing mistakes. Let's start with one of the worst 16:9 mistakes so far. In this scene from Prophecy Girl, the Master and Buffy are in the midst of a showdown. The Master has disappeared and his voice is echoing around the cave, but in the remaster, the Master hasn't been removed. He's standing there speaking on the left side of the screen. A second later, Buffy's head turns in all directions, searching for him, looking unbelievably silly. This shot is a bit quick, so just in case, like Buffy, you haven't caught it, let's slow it down.
I think I speak for everyone here when I say, huh?
Alright, so if we're honest, you can already spot the white t-shirt of the crew member in the DVD version for a fraction of a second. But he wasn't visible in the original broadcast because of the overscan on CRT televisions. But remastered, having the whole camera and crew filming the scene makes it a little less difficult to miss. These are just a couple of examples. There are many more. All the widescreen goofs, the C-stands, the sync problems, stuff like that should either be fixed by a slight zoom in or painted out digitally the way HBO did for the Wires HD remaster. Severe cropping should be avoided at all costs.
Oh! Bloody hell!
As if all of this weren't enough, there are now a few editing mistakes in the remastered episodes. Looking at this scene from Prophecy Girl, you can see that the new editor used the wrong take. The original episodes were only edited in standard definition. They have to be put back together in HD. That demands a good level of care and attention while editing, and this kind of sloppy mistake makes us think that the remastering team doesn't actually care about the show. Some of the special effects have been completely redone. Will they all be in the future? Hard to say, but what's been done so far is problematic. If we can be grateful that Fox is spending the money to remake some of the effects, it's a shame they're not trying to match the original style. The vampire dusting effect looks considerably different from the original one. The vamps now almost seem to turn into smoke rather than dust. We can't expect the new effect to look identical. It's being remade from scratch, but there isn't a real intention to match what was done at the time. The effect is being reinvented rather than re-rendered. In Inca Mummy Girl, the shot in which Impada's hand is going all mummy again has not been recreated. Here in Graduation Day 1, at the climax of the ultimate battle between Faith and Buffy, the truck Faith falls into is gone from the shot. Probably a case of a composite shot that the remastering team didn't bother to recreate. Bizarrely, it seems that the remastering team found the original CGI file starting in Season 2, Episode 6, as the dusting effect finally looks like it should in HD. But the dusting issue is there throughout the first season and the first 5 episodes of Season 2. Note also that a good portion of the special effects, including dusting, have been upscaled from standard definition, sometimes very poorly. If you're interested, take a look at the video comparisons on the Buffy HD Facebook page for more on the new special effects. Some good, some bad. Here's what some of the original team had to say about the remaster through Twitter. More than a decade ago, Joss Whedon expressed his feeling about Buffy in 16:9. As a side note, you should know that only the European DVDs of seasons 4 through 7 are in 16:9. To quote, "Adding space to the sides simply for the sake of trying to look more cinematic would betray the very mise-en-scène I was trying to create. I am a purist, and this is the purest way to watch Buffy. I have resisted the effort to letterbox Buffy from the start and always will, because that is not the show we shot." Joss Whedon. Oh yeah. They ruined it. Somebody should be indicted. Aspect ratio should always be presented how the director and the DP intended it. Stephen DeKnight.
They got the mustard. They got the mustard.
Did I spoil the surprise? Last tweet is from the mustard-singing David Fury. Hey, people are angry about the piss-poor widescreen transfer of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that airs on Pivot. It's an embarrassing mess. Last but not least, there are the DNR issues with the remaster. DNR stands for Digital Noise Reduction. It's used to reduce the presence of the film's natural grain. In excess, it can lead to a plastic appearance, and from what we've seen of this remastering, Buffy suffers from a severe lack of grain. We can only hope that the HD version aired on Pivot is a very rough draft, and that a potential Blu-ray release will fix all of the issues. Some episodes show a real potential for Buffy to look very good in high definition. We shouldn't dismiss the HD transfer entirely. It gets some things right. Most of the new CGI effects look very good. See Season 1, Episode 8, or Season 2, Episode 8. A few technical goofs from the 4x3 version have been fixed. The color in several scenes does look much nicer. We couldn't find a single episode free of issues mostly related to cropping, but Season 1, Episodes 8 and 11, and Season 2, Episodes 11 are probably the best in the first two seasons. Cropping was minimal and the framing fairly close to the original. Considering that's 3 episodes out of the first 34, that is not a statistic to be proud of. There are still an absurd number of issues in this new version. Joss Whedon and other members of the original team, David Fury and Stephen DeKnight, have expressed their outrage through their Twitter accounts, but Fox Studios has declined to comment.
Evil.
Big?
Biggest.
If you want to know even more about Buffy in HD, you can find links in the description below, including to the creator's Facebook page and my own YouTube channel. But the word I would use for the remaster is heartbreaking, because we are deeply passionate fans of the show. If you've made it this far into the video, we assume that you are as well, and that's why you still need to get the word out. Please, share this video as much as you can, and the show might actually get the royal HD treatment it deserves.
My work here is done.
Oh, I need a hug.